I apologise for my voice, I do currently have a cold. But, here we go regardless. Anyone who knows me will agree that there is nothing that I love more in video games than aesthetics. Whether that be character design, stage design, music design, to even the small things such as shaders and lighting, to animations, models and textures. I love everything to do with aesthetics in video games. And there are a few games that I think do that best. Some example of those being friend of the channel. I think a lot of the entries in the series do a lot of these really well, especially character and costume designs. I mean, you've seen a lot of the characters that have come out in Mortal Kombat, and there have been a lot of the costumes, the alternate costumes, that I think are just absolutely amazing when pitched with the characters and the stages and everything. Minecraft, with its ever-expanding style and player-made textures and shaders that can be added. Super Smash Bros., I mean the newest game in the series, Ultimate, that looks absolutely amazing. Not to discredit the other games that are in the series, but definitely the best one. And finally, the game that we're going to be talking about today, Mario Kart. There have been quite a few games in the Mario Kart series. Safe to say, all of them are amazing, and they've all got something incredible that is unique to every single one of them. The examples of these being Double Dash on the GameCube, letting you have two playable characters, basically letting you have a 2-in-1 combo as you're playing. Mario Kart DS, introducing the concept of retro tracks. Mario Kart Wii, introducing motorcycles. Mario Kart 7 for the 3DS, adding gliders. And Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U, introducing anti-gravity. They all make for amazing games. And these, I believe, are big factors in why the games are so heavily loved by gaming fans globally. And with games that are very heavily loved, comes modding. Mario Kart games, especially and in specific, Mario Kart Wii, are very susceptible to modding, having a huge modding community, especially with the release of CTGP, which is an unofficial mod to Mario Kart Wii, which adds over 200 new tracks to the game, as well as loads of other extra features. Two things that I have yet to see though, which I wish were added as features, are characters and music, and this is where this video comes in. One of the biggest and most common mods is adding Sonic the Hedgehog as a playable racer, and with the Sonic series having an array of iconic characters and music to choose from, I thought it only necessary to take all the characters and music tracks from Mario Kart Wii and replace them with their best fitting Sonic counterparts. And obviously, who better to help me with this challenge? None other than self-proclaimed Sonic mega fan, good friend and editor of the channel, Ace Trainer Charlie. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. So Charlie,
Yes.
as you are, I'd say, a fairly big Sonic fan.
Yeah, I totally didn't cover the entire mainline games in 6 months on a 2 years ago live stream or anything like that.
So, big Sonic fan. And with me being an absolute fucking nerd, I put the challenge out to both of us to replace all of the characters and music tracks in Mario Kart Wii with Sonic Counterparts. And I'm almost certain I will not be disappointed by your choices. However, I feel like you're going to see some of mine and want to absolutely batter me into the fucking ground.
Well, here's the thing. There's going to be stuff here from me that I don't think you're going to expect because of how obscure it is, maybe.
Oh yeah, like that's the main thing that I knew was going to happen. Like,
but then
you're gonna
also,
go
like, I know for a fact as of right now, I've got a lot of multiple choices for a lot.
Yeah.
Or for some. Not for everything, but for some. So.
Yeah, I understand that because there's probably a lot that you could. There's definitely in the whole of Sonic, there's a lot that you can pull from this. So
Yep.
it's definitely going to be hard. It was very hard for me, especially with the characters. I will say that there was a lot of putting ones in different areas and whatnot. But I think the one that I've got at the moment is probably the best iteration that I've been able to come up with. So, without further ado, let's get started. And we're obviously going to start with characters. So,
Yes.
I think it'd be stupid to not start off with Mario. And I think I already know what selection you've come up with.
It's probably super obvious because it's just like,
It's mascot v mascot.
pretty much.
Sonic over Mario. Probably the easiest choice that was on there. That was like the first one written down. End off.
I do want to point out that I've like gone way too much into detail about what is what for stuff.
Yeah, you did say when we was talking about it before that you're going to bring a lot of the stats into it as well. Which
Yeah,
is...
so I've had like characters determined not just by like who they would like replace, but also like how they're unlocked. If they're,
I didn't even think about that, you know.
How they're unlocked, if they're unlocked, if they're locked at the start of the game or not.
Yeah.
As well as their classes, their weight classes for what they are.
Yeah, I definitely tried to bring weight classes definitely into it, but as for the characters themselves, I was trying to think of like maybe the ones that you would expect to be unlockable if they were in a game like that, or characters that are kind of obscure. That it's like, oh shit, I never knew they were in the game. Kind of that kind of thing, and it definitely sounds like you've done that as well, which is.
I do want to point out that I've just set them to be like, I haven't changed parameters as to how they're unlocked. They're the same as how they would be in Mario Kart Wii. I've just factored that into my decision as to who's where. And
probably the only one that you'd change is Rosalina, because she has one where if you have a save file in Mario Kart Wii.
She's unlocked via two methods. It's play a set amount of. Hang on, let me like triple check this like real quick.
I know that one of them's having a save file in Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, that's like the way to get her like instantly.
Yeah.
But then I believe it's either complete like the most amount of races in the game, like it's the highest race like just playing the game character to unlock, I think. And then I think the other one is like something along the lines of like mirror mode or something. I don't remember.
Oh, okay. That would make sense, because a lot of the characters are like get at least a star in this cup, and with how many unlocked characters there are, it would make sense with that. But that's Mario. Luigi.
I struggled with Luigi.
Really?
I struggled with Luigi so much because like you think like it's just an obvious one of like having Tails. I'm going to. Yep,
yeah,
that's my dog, all right.
Yeah, that's what I did. I put Tails over Luigi.
Yeah, that's the obvious route to go with that, and I didn't want to do that because. Oh man, I'm trying to find my like what I was chart.
Because Tails is definitely a lightweight character.
Yes, but the thing is,
yeah. So
anywho, so okay,
Luigi.
So this was something that was bugging me for the longest time because I was just like, I can't like. It's surface level. It's like, oh yeah, Mario and Luigi. That's like that dynamic duo. So obviously you'd have
Sonic and Tails.
You'd have Sonic and Tails. But here's the thing, Tails is not Sonic's brother. That's not how that works. And also, Tails is like significantly lighter than Luigi.
Okay, I think I know
also
roughly where you're going with this.
And is also younger, and so because of that. I don't actually have Tails replacing Luigi. And Luigi was something that I was struggling for the longest time to put, and this might be my most filler pick possible for this. Purely because I was like, okay, I need something I can have in here that might be appealing, but isn't Tails. And so I have Luigi replaced with the Egg Pawn.
Okay. Interesting. And with the stats as well. Okay. You're definitely going to like some of the options that I've got coming up then.
Oh yeah, and then like literally right below it, I send like the graphic I'm using as like my chart that I did.
Yeah, the one that's just got Sonic on it. I
that
like that.
That was when I didn't have it finished. I have it finished now, and I have two variants of it. I have a variant where like it's every character, and then I have a variant where like the characters that are unlocked or the characters that are locked are properly locked, and you just have the base roster.
Okay, because that's good, because we're gonna be doing starter characters first, and then go on to the unlockables.
Perfect.
So that's gonna be very spicy meatball.
Then I'm gonna keep this graphic up on my recording, basically, because yeah, there's an interesting thing of just like how the medium characters, the first row of the medium characters, only like the last one is like locked of that row.
Yeah.
And then the second row, it's like only the first one's available for the medium characters.
Yeah, because I think top row it's Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, and then Yoshi underneath.
Mm-hmm.
So it's literally Daisy's unlockable, Yoshi's starter, but Yoshi's underneath all of them for some reason.
Well, it's because of how the Mario Kart UI is when you have just a base track. As you unlock characters, it's not just like a grid. It just it widens and expands as you get characters. It's not like they're in a set spot.
Yeah.
So
that makes a lot of sense. But egg porn over Luigi,
it is an interesting choice, but it'll make more sense when I get around to other characters.
Okay. Because that's what I was thinking, like, as soon as you said egg porn, I was like, he's definitely going to have some good choices later on. So.
I think so.
Peach. Also, I need to close my fucking curtains, because the sun is making me fucking Casper. There we go.
Oh, don't worry, like, my blinds are... No, my blinds are, like, on an angle that they always are. Which is super good in the mornings. Are very annoying and glaring in the evening, so...
I can imagine. So, next choice. Oh shit, I just... Peach.
Don't worry,
Peach.
I feel like that's just the... That one, like Mario, is just a given. It's It's gonna be Amy.
It's one of the like if you haven't chosen it, you're a bit of an idiot.
Also, interesting tidbit because of me being a Sonic geek. The English manual for Sonic CD, where Amy was first introduced, actually referred to her as a princess. So
makes it even better of a choice.
It's a little bit of a deep cut. Also, they also like tried to pass her off as like Sally, but that's not the case. So, like, that's very clearly wrong.
That's fair. All right, next one. Yoshi. Or Yoshi.
So I want to hear what yours is for this first.
Okay. I was thinking, like, I'll try and explain this as best way as I can. It's like Yoshi, especially in like the Mario and Sonic games, he's a lightweight and speed character. And I was thinking, who else would probably be light? Who else would probably be fast? And the best option that I had, and with the character as well, like the demeanor of the character. I know that we didn't bring that into it, but with that, I chose Espio.
Interesting.
Probably not the best choice that I could have gone with, but I think it would work.
Well, this is going to be a really weird take for me, then, because this is definitely one that differs. Because I was doing a little bit of research, Yoshi was one of those ones where like I couldn't figure out who would make sense in that role of like still being a medium weight class, who's like a little bit heavier than the others, but not by much.
Yeah.
That stumped me for the longest time, and so what I decided to do for that was just like, okay, I don't know what this is, but I know maybe this is a little bit of cheating. I don't know. But I decided to take a peek-see over at the first Olympic Games crossover game to see, okay, what's the counterpart there for Yoshi? And that's kind of what influenced this pick the most.
Okay.
Because I have Shadow over Yoshi.
Yeah, I could kind of see that coming. That is, again, not a terrible shout.
It's also because Yoshi's are unlocked from the base, and I feel like unlocking Shadow is something that most people kind of wouldn't want to do. They'd probably want them right away.
Yeah, they'd want to play with Shadow from the start.
Yeah.
I just wish, like, the thing that I'm thinking about that though is in base Mario Kart Wii, Funky Kong is the fastest character, but you have to unlock him. And with so many people that choose Funky Kong, if he was playable from the start
Funky
of the game,
Kong and Daisy for compet, right?
Yeah.
It just really depends between the two.
Oh yeah, definitely. But Shadow, like as you were saying, with being Yoshi's counterpart in the Mario and Sonic games, that makes so much sense. This is why I got you for this video, because I knew that you would come with the amazing choices. So, speaking of good choices, I think you're probably going to say this. Hopefully, you say the same thing with this, because I think it makes a lot of sense. Baby Mario.
Okay.
Since we already have Mario as Sonic, Baby Mario being the younger version of Mario, I was thinking, who's the younger version of Sonic? There isn't really a baby Sonic, but going to Sonic Generations, you've got Classic. Sonic.
Yeah.
That was, like, as soon as I was like, okay, let's get this video sorted, if you've got Mario as Sonic, who would be best as Baby Mario? Classic Sonic. It made so much sense to me.
So, I definitely like that line of thought, and I will admit I do have Classic Sonic in here, but I didn't want to have it be, I didn't want it to be that obvious, and so because of that, also Baby Mario is the lightest character in the game.
I probably should have thought of that.
Baby Mario is out of the lightest, actually, well,
out of all the lightweight characters.
Well, Baby Mario and Baby Luigi actually have a weight of 8, so technically they're the heaviest of the light characters, but I digress. It's kind of, it comes off as like, okay, this is like one of the lightest characters in the game kind of thing.
Yeah.
And because of that, this is another kind of interesting choice. I have the Chows being playable.
Okay then. Is that just like a singular Chow, I'm guessing?
Yeah, so like
cheese.
Pretty much. Not cheese specifically, but just Chows. Yeah. I would imagine, like, if you were to handle it, you could have it where, like, it's like modern day, like, Yoshi and stuff, where, like, they have their, like, you can pick, like, what Chow you play as based
yeah, like alternate costume type things.
Yeah.
So you could have, like, the Chow, you could have the devil one, you could have the angel one.
Yeah, the light and dark Chows, etc.
Yeah, you could have loads of different Chows to choose from. That could be cool. That could be very cool.
So that's kind of what I did for that.
Yeah. I never even thought about that, you know, that's so good. Alright.
And also, the Chows not only were playable in Team Sonic Racing of all things, which is the most recent, like, Sonic racing game, but also, the Chows were also playable in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. And they came in their own vehicles, too.
Yeah. Because you had Team Sonic who had, I think that was Knuckles, and no, it was Tails in that part. Then you had Gamma with Shadow. I think Eggman was one as well, wasn't he? In Adventure 2.
There was a lot of characters you could play as in the
and then the
battle
Chows
mode.
were there as well.
Yeah.
Ah, that's such a good choice.
So.
And speaking of Adventure 2, I think this character was in there. The one that I'm replacing Baby Peach with. Again,
Yeah.
like... I was thinking, like, again, like a very feminine character. Because Baby Peach is, again, a very feminine character. I said Cream.
Okay, so we're the same on this.
Okay, good.
But I have different reasons. Because...
Yeah, probably. Like, yeah.
Cream as over Baby Peach makes the most thematic sense because Cream is canonically the youngest Sonic character. She's like genuinely a kid.
Yeah, isn't she like 4?
I don't think she's
Maybe not
that young, but
Which
she's
is-
definitely like younger.
Yeah, canonically.
Back when the Sonic characters had ages, before Sega was just like, no, they don't have ages.
No,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Back when they did have ages, Sonic was like 15.
Yeah, so I was
And
gonna
then,
say,
like-
if you look at like the Sonic Heroes instruction manual, Sonic is like 16, Tails is like 11 or 12.
Yeah, and
I
Cream
think
is younger than
Knuckles
Tails.
is 18. Cream is definitely younger than Tails.
So,
So that meant, yeah, that would make.
okay.
Okay. Right. Toad. I want to hear yours first. And the reason.
So remember how I said that I had a better option for Tails?
Yes. Is it Toad?
Yes. I have Tails over Toad.
Okay. I could see that. I went with a slightly different route. I said classic Tails.
See, now I mentioned it earlier that I have Classic Sonic as well, but I don't have him where you would think I'd have him. And that is
Yeah,
purely
right, yeah.
because Classic Sonic is the only classic character I am using.
Okay.
So I don't have Classic Tails or anything like
Yeah,
that.
I don't have any more classic characters now. Pretty much all of
Okay.
them are characters that you would expect. At least for the most part, anyway. But yeah.
You're gonna be kind of surprised when we get to...
I think you're going to be surprised, especially with my choices for Rosalina and King Boo. I will say that. I think you're going to be...
Okay.
I think you're going to be surprised. But
But
we'll
also-
get to that when we get there.
Okay. I just want to point out, Sonic is in the medium class as over Mario, and then I have Tails or Toad, who's in the light class.
Yes.
That's kind of where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Since there's 3 weight classes and 3 classes that were established in Heroes, that's kind of where I'm setting some of this stuff up.
Oh, so yeah, the flight characters are more than likely be lightweight. Speed characters are medium.
Some of them.
then-
Some
okay.
of them. Not all of them, but some of them are
I think the one
are true to that convention.
Yeah, I feel like the most difficult one with that would probably be Knuckles, because it's like he's a fighter character, like he's power, but he's the same size technically as Sonic, so that would probably be the most difficult. But
Yeah.
going on to Koopa Trooper, I was thinking a lot of like the classic enemies, like going through like Sonic 1, Sonic 2, thinking like what characters would probably be, or like what enemies would probably be better as that, and I couldn't think of anything. So that's where I put Eggporn.
Interesting.
I was very heavily
could-
debating putting Eggporn as Bowser Jr., but there was a better choice that I had as Bowser Jr., so...
I have a
really-
feeling I know what your Bowser Jr. is. I have
I
a
feel-
feeling I know what your Bowser Jr.
I
is.
feel like you do, and I don't think it's the same as what you have.
You might be right, you might be wrong. I'm not gonna say.
Okay,
Um,
Koopa Trooper.
So this is gonna come as a weird one because to me it was like, sure it's an enemy, but it's also like, it's a lighter character that's just as common as mushrooms almost. Like they're more consistent than Goombas in the Mario series.
Yeah.
And so because of this is gonna come as a weird surprise for this.
Go for it. I'm excited.
But this is where I have Silver.
Ooh. Okay.
And the reason I have him here is because Koopa Troop is also a light character.
Yeah.
And Silver is not only slower than the other hedgehogs canonically, but is also like, when you think of Silver, you think about how he controlled and everything in 06
Yeah, he's
with
got
being able to hover and
telekinetic
teleport
powers,
dash. Yeah. So, in that regard, I'm just like, okay, he's lighter, clearly.
Yeah, in that sense he would be, and I feel like in the games where he has a weight class as well, he is one of the lightest Sonic characters as well. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So we've currently got 3 that are the same.
Okay.
We've got 3. We've got Sonic over Mario, Amy over Peach, and Cream over Baby Peach.
Okay.
So that's that's cool. I feel like with these ones we might match though. Wario.
So, you want me to go first, or?
Yeah, go for it.
This should be obvious. And I feel like this
Hopefully.
this is probably an overlap, and I don't doubt any reason as to why this wouldn't be. For myself, I've got Wario, obviously, like, this is the heavyweight class now.
Mm-hmm.
And Wario is the very first rival to that of Mario, proper. And I think, like, the only rival, if you discount Bowser being in, not the mainline games.
Yeah, he's a villain, not a rival.
Well, in the mainline games he is, and in part when they go karting, it's like it's whatever.
then
It's just
a
an average
rival,
day
but
at the beach.
Yeah.
So, and because of that, because it's the first rival, this is Knuckles.
Okay. I didn't think about it as that route. But again, that does make
And that also now
hell of a lot of
completes
sense.
the, and that now also completes the triangle that is Team Sonic
Tails,
of
Knuckles.
Sonic, Tails, Knuckles being light, medium, and heavy.
Yes. My option was slightly different. I went more of like a body shape type thing. Wario being a big person. Big the cat. It's a choice.
Well, here's the thing. Wario is known for his strength as well, and Big's not necessarily he's never been portrayed as strong. He's been portrayed more of kind of a bumbling
more
in his
like
own space. Yeah.
I was thinking like Big was power in Sonic Heroes. Wario would also be power.
Well, here's the thing. You're not off with that as far as my list is concerned as well, because
Yeah.
we'll get to it when I get to it.
Very good. And with that, we've got Waluigi. I'll go first with this one. Again, I went with body shape. I did with a lot of these, which I probably shouldn't have done, but with this, Waluigi, very tall, very long legs, very long arms. Who else do we know in the Sonic universe that is fairly tall, has really long arms, really long legs, and a mustache that's fairly similar? Dr. Eggman.
So this is actually where this is another overlap, but my reasoning is different because the obvious thing I think we talked about before, loosely, we didn't spoil each other's lists on each other, but
Yeah.
Loosely we were just like Eggman over Bowser doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because
That's
if you
fundamentally
think about the stature,
different.
Like the
Yeah.
stature of Bowser, he's always hunched over. Dr.
He's hunched
Eggman's
over,
not
he's
hunched
very large, very heavy. Eggman's not heavy. He's large, but he's not heavy.
over. Yeah.
And because of that, Waluigi makes more sense, but also, just like the Olympic Games choice with Shadow over Yoshi, that is also how it is over there. Waluigi
the rival.
is the counterpart to Eggman.
Exactly. I didn't bring that into consideration when I made it, but it works. It works. Next, Donkey Kong. Now, we're definitely not going to have the same choice here. because my Donkey Kong was Knuckles. So
Okay. Well, just like how I described Big earlier about him being a bumbling oaf and everything,
Donkey Kong.
also kind of the same as Donkey Kong. And again, Team Rose is light, medium, and heavy because of it.
Yes. Yes.
So.
Okay. Cool. That makes sense. I was thinking like Donkey Kong he's very known for punching, and like his hands and his arms are always the ones that are kind of like yes, and then Knuckles as well with the spikes on the fist. He punches a lot. Even though with Knuckles he's more than likely punching rocks, and with Donkey Kong it's barrels, but it's
or just
fist
people.
heavy.
If you remember back to the hidden
Donkey
boss
Kong.
fight. Well, even the hidden boss fight in Punch Out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like really punching.
I can't
heavy.
believe how rare and how hard that boss fight is.
I've seen people play the game, and
That boss fight is limited to one specific mode. That if you lose, I think 3 times in, then not only do you lose and are like, and that that's where your run for that mode ends. But that's it. You can't play that mode ever again after that. You have to make a new save file.
Wow.
So even being able to have the chance to come across Donkey Kong is kind of rare in and of itself, because you have to make it. He's not guaranteed to show up.
And then when he does, if you fail 3 times, that's it. You can't even do it again.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's... Jeez. Well then. Next
I have a
oh,
hunch about this.
What, of Bowser?
Yes.
I was going to initially think of like, okay, so in the very early Sonic games, you've got the really big egg robot, the one that you get on the Death Egg.
Literally called the Death Egg robot.
That one. I was thinking you could potentially go with that, but that would mean that you've technically got Dr. Eggman on there twice.
That's so. One, that's too big of a character. I mean, screw it. They added Pee Wee Piranha as a racer, so I mean, like, hey, size doesn't really matter in that regard.
Scale it down, yeah.
But
Death Egg robot, does it make sense?
But since you included classic Sonic and classic Tails, there's nothing preventing you from saying you could have done classic Robotnik as well, because that is also another thing.
I could have done, but I went with an option that I'm probably going to regret. Actually, no, I don't regret it. I'm going to stick with it. Over Bowser, I've put Vector the Crocodile.
Is it just because of the reptiles?
No. It's because I'd pretty much already had other characters over everything else, and I was like, I really want Vector in there as well. Vector's one of my favourite characters in Sonic. It was like, how do I fit him in? And Bowser was the only one that was left that made sense, although, looking at it now, Vector over Funky Kong, probably the better option.
Okay.
But with the option that I've got for Funky Kong, that one makes more sense than Vector over Funky Kong, so...
Now I'm curious about that, because my Bowser's definitely not Vector.
Okay, I already kind of knew
that. Because Bowser has always been a villain, as far as the mainline games are concerned. Always big, always brooding, spits fire, we all know this.
Yes.
Another character that spits fire and was once evil, but isn't kind of now, but is associated with, kind of evil in the form of anti-hero. I have Bowser replaced with Omega.
Ooh. Okay.
So that's kind of weird that I have it set up. This is the last character that's just like of the non-unlockables, so I
Yeah,
can
the
say this
starter
without
characters,
spoiling
yeah.
stuff. This is the last of the starter characters.
That's what I was
so I can
thinking as well. Omega is
So
a
this,
starter character.
so Omega is a starter character. It's kind of weird how this. This is kind of weird how this fell apart. But you'll notice I have Shadow and I have Omega as starting characters.
And there's no Rouge.
It's purely because of why I've selected what I have.
Yeah,
So,
that's completely fine. But those
so
are the
it's
starter
a little bizarre. It is a little bizarre to have. I feel like that kind of balances out. You have 3, technically, kind of 4 characters from my list that are like villain-esque.
Yeah.
For starting characters, and I felt like that was justified rather than having to unlock some.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, those are all the starter characters. We've currently matched on 4. And those are 12 characters we've been through. So, this is... So, but, nonetheless, let's start on the unlockable characters. With the first one being Daisy. Your choice earlier, or like our choice even, with Amy, with her being a princess, made a lot of sense. That's why she's Peach. With Daisy, I went with a very similar kind of thing. Who else is a princess that we know that's got a bit more of a fiery temper than Amy? None other than Blaze.
So this is definitely one that we overlap on, but not for the same reasons.
Again.
While it is true that Daisy and Peach are princesses of 2 separate kingdoms, and that is absolutely the case, and the fact that Blaze is from a different dimension.
Yes.
Something that is meta about the game is that how Funky Kong and Daisy are used religiously in the meta.
Yes.
And because of that, because Blaze is meant to be an alternate dimension version of Sonic, it makes sense that an unlockable character that is of the same weight class is
Would
that
be
of none
unlockable.
other than Blaze.
Yeah.
Especially over Daisy, who's, again, used frequently in the meta.
Yes. Makes a lot of sense. And with Daisy being introduced in Super Mario Bros. Wonder as well. Never expected that to happen.
I can't believe Daisy is playable in a mainline game before the Wario Brothers.
That's exactly what I was thinking. But yeah, that was Daisy. Anyway. Birdo. Again, difficult choice. Not one that I think we're going to have the same on. Since I think you already said that
Definitely not.
you haven't got... I think you already said that you haven't got this character on here. But I was thinking, like, Birdo is very, like... In a lot of her animations, she seems very flirtatious. And that's why I chose Rouge. So...
So
again,
this
like-
is an overlap.
Oh, is it? Okay, good.
So this is an overlap.
Again, not for the same reason.
But purely for the fact that it's more to do with the fact that while this reasoning does line up, it's more to do with how they look on the final character roster, with having Rouge next to Shadow.
Oh, okay. Because Yoshi...
Because Birdo's next to Yoshi.
Yeah, that makes sense. I should have thought about these before making the list. God damn.
This is also why my final. There's some weird placements with my roster list image that I made, but they make sense when it's all finished.
You're saying weird placements. I've got egg porn over Koopa Trooper.
And I have him over Luigi.
Yeah, so we're both pulling out all the stocks on this one. And I have done the same with Diddy Kong. Again, character that we haven't chosen. Or not haven't, that we're not overlapping with, anyway. I was thinking Conkers from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But I feel like he's a very an incredibly obscure character. And I think he wasn't in
the monkey characters?
Yeah, the monkey
from
with
Angel
the siren on
Island.
his head.
Okay, that is a deep cut because
I was
that is
thinking
not
about that.
that's a deep cut because that's not only like a one-off character, that's something that I didn't even remember existed, because the more iconic and more annoying character is actually the monkeys from Sonic 2 that throw coconuts.
Yeah, those ones.
They have a name. I don't remember it. I'm not that dedicated,
I
but
think it's just coconuts. So, although I could have had coconuts over Diddy Kong, I was looking at the rest of the roster that I've got, and coconuts on there would be the most obscure out of there, bearing in mind a lot of the other characters that I've got on here are either from games that are very recent or have shown up a lot of times. So Diddy Kong is where I put Shadow. Again, not an amazing choice, but I wanted Shadow in there, and that was the last position that I probably could have put him in. But yeah, Diddy Kong is where I put Shadow.
this is gonna be a bizarre one, because it's not Shadow I put here, obviously.
Yeah.
This is one of those ones where I'm not properly familiar with it. But again, this is one of those ones where, like, once you see the complete roster, it makes sense why this character is put here.
Yeah.
Over Diddy Kong, just because it makes this whole row make sense once everyone's unlocked. As well, Diddy Kong you unlock for just having 50cc. It's like super early. It's like one of the earliest things you do in the game, basically. Of just like, yeah. And because of that, another character you meet kind of like immediately is actually in the most recent game, that being of Sage from Frontiers.
Okay then. And with both of them being like light on the lighter end of the medium class as well. Okay. Interesting choice there. But definitely one that makes sense. And I'm guessing with you as well, the bottom row would all be, because it'd be Shadow, Rouge. I was going to say, like, the bottom row for you in that case, when all the characters are unlocked, would be Shadow, Rouge, then Sage, and then
Bowser Jr. replacement.
Yeah.
Which I feel like this is an overlap, and if it's not, I'm gonna be a little disappointed, because it makes the most
I
sense
would
to
probably
me.
be disappointed as well. I hope we've gone the same thing. I put Metal Sonic.
Okay, we do have the same thing.
Good.
Now, I put Metal Sonic here not just to fill out that row of just like, oh, these are like anti-hero basically.
Yeah.
But also the fact that Metal Sonic makes the most sense for being unlocked here, because Bowser Jr. you unlock for 100cc retro of 1 star. So, completing all of the 100cc retro cups.
Yes.
It's not hard to do. It's just, it takes a little bit of effort to do. And honestly, a little bit of effort is all you need to do to beat Metal Sonic and CD. As well as the fact that this parallels well with the fact that Metal Sonic is a much more nimbler robot to that of Omega,
Yes.
which is also where that kind of lineup makes sense.
Very
Even
much.
though canonically, obviously Metal Sonic is older than Omega, but I digress.
Yeah, still, because it would have been Metal Sonic was in the CD era, and then Omega was in Heroes. So, canonically, yeah. But, yeah, I'm just happy that we've got the same choice. The fact that he was like, I'm going to be so disappointed if you don't have it, and then you pull out someone just completely random.
Well, here's the thing. We haven't gotten to it yet, and I feel like it's going to be a bit before we get to that. But the final row of where Funky Kong and all that are,
Yeah.
I am going there's three out of the 4 of them are purely because of how they're unlocked, and because of that, they might sound like they make no sense whatsoever. And one of them is kind of obscure, especially in the modern era.
Yeah, we definitely will. In the meantime, I have got some fairly, I want to say decent choices, especially for the lightweight characters. I'm very certain we're not going to match on them.
I doubt it.
But we'll see. Baby Luigi. I have Omo Chow.
Yeah, I can kick that bucket of bolts right off a ledge. That is not who I have at all. Over Baby Luigi, I have Charmy B.
Okay. Interesting choice. And a very good choice. I completely...
Well, I want to point out... I want to point out that in my roster, I have Team Rose, Team Sonic, and Team Dark.
Yes.
Rouge is the only one you have to unlock with Team Dark, but basically those are pretty much like given characters.
Oh, yeah.
So in that regard, it's going to be no surprise that I mentioned that Team Chaotix not only is here, but is the only team fully that you have to unlock.
Okay, then.
So
that
Charmy,
means,
Espio, and
I
Vector
know-
are
I think I know where
unlockables,
Espio is.
but
I think I have a rough idea of where Espio and Vector are then.
maybe.
But we're gonna go on to Baby Daisy because that's where I put Charmy. I completely forgot that Charmy's a boy, and I thought, you know what?
Well,
Baby Daisy.
good thing I'm not paying attention to gender, because this is... I also put a boy here, but not the one you would think, because just like how I put Blaze as over Daisy because of the meta,
Yeah.
Daisy's one of the fastest characters in the game. A younger version of her makes sense for classic Sonic.
Okay. I remember you saying that Classic Sonic's going to be on there, and hearing how you've done it again. That just makes
And
so
also,
much sense.
Classic Sonic, with how Baby Daisy's unlocked, it's just beating the new courses that were added in Wii.
Yes.
So the first
Nitro
4 cups.
courses.
Yeah. Those cups on 50cc for 1 star, and that's how you unlock Baby Daisy.
So
So,
very
with how
quick,
easy
yeah.
that is a very easy unlock for Classic Sonic.
It's on the same vein as Diddy Kong as well.
I'm actually going to cover this now because I haven't covered it with the characters that we've already talked about, but I'm going to cover it real quick right now in the lightning round. Baby Luigi is unlocked from 8 fast ghosts, and given the fact that Charmy's a literal bee and is kind of meant to be fast, despite being annoying, that to me checks out.
It definitely does.
Rouge, or in this case Birdo, is unlocked from 16 time trials. It's fast, but I feel like given Rouge's thief nature, that also checks out.
Oh yeah.
Diddy Kong being 50cc light for lightning, that checks out. I already explained Metal Sonic, and that's where we're caught up.
Good. Okay, next is Toadette. You should probably see the unlock for her. That's all of the time trials.
That is 32 time trials. Yes, that is all time trials for the unlock.
Again, probably should have thought of that about that before going into it, but I, again, have chosen a rogue one. I've chosen just a Flicky.
Yeah, no, this is definitely not the same, because this is where I have Espio.
Yeah, again, having all of the time trials, fast character, Espio, yeah.
And also, Espio is meant to be a ninja, and they're always meant to be light on the toes, hence the lightweight. I think that's the only character out of... Well, I think Espio and Rouge are the only characters that break the tradition of, like, light, medium, heavy for the respective teams. But
Yeah, because Rouge would be medium, but then Espio's lightweight.
yeah.
Then you'd have Espio and Charmy both as lightweight. But the way that you've explained it makes so much sense. And for me, it's just... It's none of these have really made that much sense at all. And neither does Dry Bones. I just know it doesn't. Because I don't even know where I came up with this. I've just got Ray the Flying Squirrel.
See, now, I mentioned this as well, but one of the rules I made for myself was that I was only going to use the modern era. And so
Yeah.
because of that, Mighty and Ray, Sega has made a point of just being like, this classic era is the classic era, and the modern era is the modern era. They don't
Yeah, the
interlink
classic
except for
era have kind of
generations.
the classic era have kind of been retconned from the modern era.
Not quite. The events of the game still happen as far as a consistent timeline is concerned. However, characters that appear in classic era are staying in the
Always
classic
stay in
era.
classic era.
So
that's why you also don't.
So
see
Mighty,
Fang,
Ray,
Bean, and
Fang,
Mike.
Bean, Bark, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are always going to be classic characters, and because of that, I don't have any of those characters here, purely because I am sticking to that stupid mandate. And because of that, over Dry Bones, I have the polar opposite of Dry. I have Chaos.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Dry Bones is unlocked from 100cc of completing the Leaf Cup. It's not too hard, but I figured, hey, Dry Bones is kind of meant to be this undead character, and Chaos is the god of destruction, and is also pretty much the last of his kind as well.
Yeah. Shit. Okay then. Well, that's okay. When I said you're gonna enjoy my options of King Boo and Rosalina, that's been blown out the window. Guess who I had for King Boo?
Is this
That's
Chaos?
where I had Chaos.
Okay. Now, King Boo is completing 50cc of the Star Cup.
Again, very easy unlockable.
Very easy, and it's one of those ones where, like, King Boo is a very random pick, as is this entire row, frankly.
Yes.
So because of that, because of how wild these picks are, this is where I'm having a character that hasn't appeared for a long time, but is considered in the modern era.
Mm-hmm.
This is Gemerald.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Where did Jamal even come from?
Gemerald is a rebuilt version of Emerald, who first appeared in Sonic Battle. Gemerald appeared in Sonic Advance 3 and has stuck around as Cream's protector ever since.
Okay then, yes. So I was thinking about adding a Merlin, like the original ML, and then you could probably have Gemel as an alternate costume potentially.
You could easily do them as alternate costumes, but the point of them is that Emerald was always like kind of influenced by Eggman and not and was kind of like of his own accord.
While
Gemerald was completely an Eggman robot until he was destroyed by Sonic, and when that was the case, they rebuilt him and reprogrammed him to be Cream's protector.
To be Cream's protector. Again.
Well,
makes
Cream
so
and
much
her
sense.
moms, so.
Yeah, Vanilla. I was thinking about adding Vanilla in here as Rosalina, but I decided to go with a better option.
That is... Yeah.
I think you're going to be surprised by this one if you don't already
Probably.
have
I
this.
feel like this is going to be a surprise for you as well.
I have Princess Elise from Sonic 06.
See, now you stayed true with the princess idea.
I
Because
was
of how...
also thinking like who's like in the Sonic like universe, who's like a female kind of character who towers over Sonic, and the only one that I could think of was Elise. But then you've also got Vanilla as well, so it was a toss up of the two.
So, this is one of those ones where the placement makes sense in the final cut,
Yes.
and doesn't really make sense as a Rosalina replacement, which is why like the placement of the characters in the final roster makes way more sense, because this lines up much better.
Yeah.
Rosalina is unlocked from all the mirror cups, and there's nothing more mirror than a really crappy microscope or looking eye or whatever. So this is Vector. This is my Vector.
Okay. Again.
But also, this is like the primary thing behind it, I guess. I don't know how much you pay attention to the meta after Wii, but Rosalina is by far the heaviest princess.
Oh yeah, she's
So-
the only heavyweight princess to my knowledge.
Yeah, and because of that, that is also why it is Vector. This entire row is technically heavyweights, but because they're also random picks, this is kind of where I'm
Oh yeah.
throwing them.
I feel like I'm surprised that you put Vector there because I feel like isn't Rosalina one of the lightest heavyweight characters as well?
She, despite being a heavyweight, she doesn't actually have any weight added to her. None of the heavyweights do, actually.
None of the
Well,
unlockable heavyweights.
Yeah, none of the unlockable heavyweights
So I
actually
was going to
have,
say
like,
King Boo
additional-
definitely wouldn't because he's a ghost.
Yeah, and then Rosalina doesn't because base,
Yeah.
so...
So, one that I'm surprised doesn't have a weight value is Funky Kong. And I am kind of disappointed I didn't put Vector in this option, but like I said, there was another character that I felt like suited better. As you mentioned earlier, Donkey Kong is kind of not the best mentally, but Funky Kong, he's able to fly a plane. He's got that kind of like mental knowledge. And the only other
Yeah, it's
character,
an engineer.
yeah, exactly. The only other character that I feel like would have made sense in that spot, which is the one that I've got, is the Werehog.
So, this is definitely where our lists differ a lot. Because... the Werehog, to me, it makes sense on a surface level.
Yeah.
If you look on it beyond that, it kind of falls a little bit apart.
Oh yeah.
But something I've realized with your list is that you have too many Sonics.
I have Sonic, Classic Sonic, Metal Sonic, and the Werehog.
Well, the Werehog is just Sonic anyways.
Yeah, it's Sonic at night.
So, it's... the Werehog is something that not only has Sega completely decided to forget about, but it has also been one of those things where, like, it's been kind of a divisive topic as well to be brought up in the modern time.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now, I do not have the Werehog. That is
That's
an interesting
completely
cut. My Funky Kong... because Funky Kong is such a random pick, this is a character that I've... this is also a random character, but also from a more recent game, and that the requirement for this unlock is 4 fast ghosts. And because of that, this is infinite.
See, I wouldn't have classed Infinite as a heavyweight. But that's definitely
with-
an interesting choice.
Well, with the Phantom Ruby, he can manipulate anything.
Yeah, true. He just
So-
makes himself heavier. Okay. Yeah. My choices have definitely been based more on aesthetics than like functionality, which is definitely my downfall in this. But I feel like
worries.
it's going to help me a lot when we get to the music tracks, I think. Because I absolutely love thinking about, like, I mean, I've already shown you like a few of them. I'll just take songs from games and such and crop them down as if they were in Mario Kart. So I feel like I've got a head up in the music track department. So
Maybe. I didn't realize it was just music, so when we get to that, it's more me, like, thinking about, like, what would be a
track
cool
itself.
stage for it.
yeah. I
So
was
music,
thinking
music
if
doesn't
we-
play too much into a factor of it,
Yeah.
but specifically courses, absolutely.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've still got Dry Bowser as well.
Yes, we still have one character to go.
Yeah, and I was going to say that Funky Kong was a toss-up between the Werehog and Omega. So Dry Bowser is where I put Omega. I was thinking, like, again, he's not the easiest character to unlock, So I was like, who would be good in that
No, I
position?
think Dry Bowser is probably the hardest character in the game to unlock.
You reckon?
I think so.
I'm trying
Given
to
the
think.
unlock thing, it's
150cc for
New
all the
star.
one star on
all the new
of
tracks.
Nitro courses in 150cc. It's difficult, but I feel like I had more difficult with the mirror stuff, if anything.
Well, here's the thing. The mirror stuff is also, like... The mirror stuff is, like, the intended way to do that. Rosalina is of the case of, like, if you have that save data, you also instantly unlock them. And so for me, I kind of want to carry that idea a little step forward in the fact that, like, while Team Chaotix is unlockable through normal means, I feel like if you happen to have Sonic Heroes save data on your Wii, because it is backwards compatible with the Wii, you would if you had that data on your Wii, you'd unlock Team Chaotix in their entirety from the get-go.
That's an interesting concept. I like that.
Especially
I
since
love
Team
Team Chaotix as
Chaotix
well.
was, or modern Team Chaotix was introduced in Heroes, just as how Rosalina was introduced in Galaxy.
Yeah, because Team Chaotix before had Mighty and Ray as well, didn't it?
It had Mighty and Knuckles. Ray has been a forgotten relic because he's only been in one game.
Yeah, true.
Mighty's
Then he
been
came
in
back.
2.
Yeah. And then he came back in Mania Plus.
Yep, and didn't come back for Origins because they really did not care about the collection.
They
That's a
don't
different
give
topic.
shit.
That's a different topic. That's not this point. Dry Bowser, though. Yeah, you mentioned you have Omega.
Yes.
And if you notice with my list, I have robots. Bowser Jr. is Metal Sonic. Bowser is Omega. And Dry Bowser is just Dead Bowser.
Yes. Dead Omega.
No. Gamma.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I could have seen that coming when you mentioned Omega. Yeah. That
Probably.
Yeah. I do really like that pick. Because you could also technically see it as like Dry Bowser could technically be an older version of the normal Bowser. Technically, not like a I'll put my hands up, that's just me saying it very loosely. But Gamma being technically an older version of Omega, with Omega being the last of the E series. That could make
Yeah.
a lot of sense as well.
So,
It's
obviously,
still a very good
comments will
roster.
probably determine which is the better roster. So.
Oh yeah, like I'm already bowing down. Your options are a million times better than mine. Definitely.
Well, I feel like there's some things that like I probably could have done better. I still feel like I could have included some stuff. Like, if I included the classic era, then Gemerald could have been replaced with Mighty, probably.
Potentially, yeah.
Because like Mighty is my favorite character that has been of the retro cast. So.
That is a very good roster, though. I will say that.
Thank you. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in the graphic, like probably too much time just for a simple video, but hey, this is stuff that I'm passionate about, and so that's just kind of how it works.
And that's why we got you involved, my friend. That's exactly why we got you involved. There's no one I would love to talk to more about replacing Mario with Sonic than someone who is a self-proclaimed Sonic nerd.
I think the initial thing that came to my mind when you initially reached out to be like, hey, let's do this project, I'm just like, why are we covering Wii and not like 8?
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking like, with 8, there's probably too much going on with it. And again, you've got like so many tracks.
Oh, I am going to mention that I had scrapped I am going to mention that I had scrapped ideas for stuff. So, things that I did cut, I mentioned King Boom Boo over King Boo.
Yeah.
That I cut because I feel like that's too ridiculous. Bowser, I initially had as Eggman because just paralleled villain, but that doesn't make sense given how Eggman is. And then my other choice for that was a character I honestly don't ever want to see again, and that being Zavik.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, we're not doing that.
Imagine Zaz over Waluigi.
I initially had Vector over Wario, but that to me didn't make much sense either.
That was my second option with Wario. It was either going to be Big the Cat or Vector.
I did have Tails over Luigi at one point, but I scrapped it because I felt like that was too
obvious.
too obscure.
Oh, okay.
Well, too obvious, but yeah, okay, too obvious because the rest of it is gonna get too obscure. I initially had Toad as Charmy, and I initially had Koopa as Cream, because the entirety of the light, like the babies, were just replaced with Chows. Originally, Baby Mario was just going to be the default Chow, and then Luigi would have been the Dark Chow, Peach would have been Elmo Chow, and Daisy would have been the Hero Chow. I initially had that flushed out, and I was like, that's stupid.
There's too many Chows.
That's stupid. People already complain a fuck ton about the Koopalings. I'm not doing that.
I love how you're like, I had too many Chows, and then I've got Sonic, Metal Sonic, Werehog, and Classic Sonic. I've got 4 different versions of Sonic.
Metal Sonic is his own character, but Classic Sonic, and Werehog are just the same character at different states.
Yeah. Too many.
Hello again, Editor Charlie here, stepping in to say, hey, if you made it this far into a video, thank you a fuck ton for making it this far into a video. It really does mean a lot to not just myself, but to Tony especially. We are choosing to break this video up into 2 parts, so that way it's not just one massive video that would take quite much longer to edit. Part 2 will be sooner than people probably expect, because this half wasn't terribly long to edit, but we are going to be getting back to it very soon. Until then, thank you again so much for tuning in, and I personally will catch you guys on the flip side. I don't know what Tony usually says. Stay subbed to see when the next part comes out.